You're good.
Okay. All right, so my name is Nicole Jablonski. I am the Associate Director of Student Veteran Services at East Carolina University. We are located in Menden Hall. If you're not familiar with the campus, it is near the rec center and then behind the new student center. I am in room 233. And then our Vet Success on Campus counselor, who actually works for the VA, and I'll talk about her a little bit more in a minute, works right next door to me in room 234. Our Veterans Lounge, which all people using benefits are welcome to use, is in room 254, just right down the hall across from the great rooms. Just to let you know what's in there. We have, TV. We just got an Xbox with a whole bunch of games. We have a computer lab in there. We have free printing. And we also have a textbook lending library. So if you're interested in looking at our textbooks, you can actually go on our website and look at our catalog through there. If you want to check out a book, you're able to go ahead and put a hold on it, and it'll be there for you when you start in the fall semester. Or if you just want to come by when the semester starts and see if we got a book, you're welcome to do that too. You have it throughout the entire semester. It's totally free to you. It's just like a library book. Okay, so let's talk about VA benefits. So because this is a session for dependents of veterans, I am going to talk about Chapter 35, and then also Chapter 33, the post 9/11 GI Bill. Chapter 35 is known as DEA. So I'm going to go through Chapter 35 first because it is the most straightforward of the two benefits. To be eligible for Chapter 35, the veteran has to be considered 100% disabled by the VA. Once the veteran is considered 100% disabled by the VA, their dependents automatically become eligible for Chapter 35, the spouse and all the children. It's not like the post 9/11 GI Bill benefit that you have to split up amongst your dependents. Everyone is given 36 months of benefits. Now, something to remember about Chapter 35 is it just stipend. It does not pay for tuition. So let's hear the current rate for DEA is $1,224 a month. And the way that the VA pays, and this is true for the post 9/11 GI Bill too, is the VA pays in arrears. That means they pay for the month that you went to school, not for the month that you're going. So when we begin in the middle of August, providing everything goes well with the VA, you can never be too sure with the VA, you will get a payment in September, somewhere in the beginning of September. Chapter 35 payments can be a little wonky, but they usually come within that first week of the month. You would get about half of that payment. You won't receive a full payment for the month until October, which will be for the month of September. Something else to keep in mind is we have a long break this semester. So when we end in Thanksgiving, and then we won't see you again until January, you will not be getting payments. The nice thing about that is while they used to provide break payments for benefits, For anyone who used their own VA education benefits in the past, they don't do that anymore, but it doesn't burn any time. The thing to remember with the VA is they charge you day by day time. So if school is, I'm just going to throw out a ballpark figure here, it's not right, 100 days, they will charge you 100 days against your entitlement to 36 months. So that's actually pretty nice. You know, so if you only do a partial month, they only count it as a partial month. So don't be worried that, you know, if classes begin and you think that you're getting charged for the full month, because you're not. That's really important to remember. Okay, so chapter 35. You want to get the benefit. The most important thing to do is apply. So what you're going to do, and I'm going to share my screen. Share. Corey, my screen is grayed out still.
Okay.
I have an option for file and whiteboard.
It's not helpful. Let me see if that is anything. Okay, so mine is now grayed out. Did it come back to you? Or did it
It
pop?
did. Okay.
Yay. Okay.
Okay. Sorry about that. Technology.
Gotta love it.
Okay. So everyone should now see the va.gov website. This is where you're going to go to pretty much do anything with the VA. So what you're going to do is scroll down, go to education, and then apply for education benefits. What you want to do is, before you do anything with this application, is you want to make sure, and it says this right here, you want to make sure that you have the social security number for the person using the benefit, the bank account direct deposit information, and then any of the military history for the person, the sponsor for the benefits. Generally, with VA applications, if you don't know the answer to the question, the answer is probably no. They throw a lot of questions in there for like specific scenarios that may only fit a small portion of the population. So if you think you're like, I don't know what you're talking about, just click no. That's fine. Okay. So what you want to do is scroll down to how do I apply, and then you're going to find your education benefits form. And I really love what the VA has done with this website. It has taken out so much of the guesswork. Okay, so I'm going to pretend I'm chapter 35 here. So I am applying for a new benefit. So this is for someone who has not used chapter 35 at all. You are brand new to going to higher education. You've not used the benefit at another school, community college, another North Carolina school, school anywhere. So you would click that. And then it's going to ask you, are you a veteran or service member claiming a benefit based on your own service? So as the dependent, you are going to say no, because you are not the veteran. And then it's going to ask, is your sponsor deceased, 100% permanently disabled, MIA, or a prisoner of war? You then answer that question as applicable to you. It will then bring you to the correct form for you. It's not a long form. It takes maybe 15 minutes to fill out. If you have not filled out this form yet, I highly recommend you do it as soon as possible. Historically, the summer is the VA's busiest time, and it can take, on a good month for the VA, 4 to 6 weeks for them to process your application for the benefits, just for them to say, yes, you are entitled for the benefit. They will send you a letter in the mail. Please make sure anytime you get a letter from the VA, regardless of what benefit it is, you always read it. The VA is very, very good about sending you lots of communication about your benefits. One of the good things is they will keep up a running tally of how many months you have remaining. So every time you enroll in school, it will subtract those months that you are certified for. We'll talk about the certification in a minute, and then say you now have 33 months remaining. So that's a really good way to keep track of how many months of benefits you are, you have left. The other thing that you want to be aware of is if you ever accrue a debt with the VA, and we will talk about that in a minute as well, that's how they're going to communicate with you. Some people are not even aware that they've accrued a debt with the VA and unfortunately don't look at the letters. Then you'll start to see communication from what's called Debt Management Center. And if you don't respond to their communication, they will just take the full debt from whatever benefit you're getting next. So that may mean that you may not receive a monthly payment at all, or for a while, depending on how big your debt is. So you just want to make sure that you take care of any communication that the VA sends to you right away. Now, with the VA letters, they can be difficult to understand. If you do not understand what the VA is saying in your letter, please feel free to email it to myself or to one of our certifying officials. Their names are Josh Dale, DAILJ @ecu.edu, and Camille Best, BESTC @ecu.edu. And my email address is JABLONSKIN15 @ecu.edu. You're welcome to take a picture of the letter. You're welcome to bring the letter in, whatever works best for you. And we'll take a look at it and try to give you an idea of what it means. If it's something that we haven't seen before and that happens, we can call the VA and find out what it means, because sometimes their language is a little foggy. Okay, so you've applied for the benefit, you've gone through this. I highly recommend that you write your confirmation number down when you apply for the benefit. The VA will then send you what's called a certificate of eligibility for the benefit, saying that you are eligible for it. And then we would really like a copy of it. It just helps us if the VA does not pay appropriately, to have that information on file. So when we contact the VA on your behalf, if perhaps you're not getting your monthly stipend correctly, we can say, look, it says right here that the person is eligible for Chapter 35. You're not paying at that rate. Can you give us an idea of what's going on here? That it just gives us more information. You can send that to any of the email addresses that I just laid out, or a simpler one, vets @ecu.edu. That's VETS @ecu.edu. That's kind of our catch-all email inbox for everything. Okay, so you've applied for the benefit, you've gotten your certificate of eligibility. Do not wait for your certificate of eligibility to do this next part. The next part is, if you've registered for classes, you want to let our certifying officials know that you have done so. If you do not complete this next step, we have no way of knowing that you're going to school, and then the VA will not be aware and you won't get paid. So the easiest way to do it is to go to the registrar's page. And I happen to think that the search function at ECU is great. If it lets me click in there. Just search for the registrar's page. So I'm just clicking on the Office of the Registrar's page. And then you're going to scroll down and you see these nice pictures here. Select the one that says Veterans. You will scroll down to Forms and then click on Request for Benefits. This, I'm not going to click on it because it actually takes you into Pirate Port and then you complete the form online. If you would prefer to complete a paper form, you're welcome to do so at our office. We can email you one and then you can scan it back to us. But really, just based on the situation that we're in right now, I would highly recommend doing the request for benefits. So what this allows the certifying officials to do is they are now notified that you are going to class, you're registered for classes. They'll take a look at how many credits you are registered for and then report that information to the VA. Something to keep in mind when registering for classes is that they have to go toward your degree. It's very easy in the beginning to have all of your classes count towards your degree because there are so many requirements that you have to meet. But once you get up into the senior level, it can be more difficult to find classes so you keep like full-time status. So just keep that in mind. You can't add, you know, the famous intro to basket weaving class because you are trying to get a full-time schedule, because the VA will not pay for that. Something else to keep in mind is in a typical semester where full-time status is considered 12 credits, it's fine to take 15, it's fine to take 18. This is important for the post 9/11 GI Bill students, but if you want to go above 18, the VA will pay for that additional fee. And it doesn't take away from your benefits that you earned, because they go by months, not credits. Okay, so fill out that form. So then the certifying officials will send that information to the VA. Once they do that, you will get an email to your ECU email address from VA Once, ONCE. It will say you are registered for 6 credits or 4 credits or whatever you happen to be registered for in the first and second, what are they called? Blocks, yes. If any of them are online, they will be pulled out. So if you are registered for 6 credits in the first block and you see 3 credits, don't worry, look for the section where it talks about distance education and it'll have an additional 3 credits there. If it does not reflect your current schedule, please let us know right away so we can go ahead and fix that. Okay, so we fill out the request for benefits, you get certified, the information gets sent to the VA. The VA now has to process this. So once again, it can take anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks for them to process this. So if you have not applied for your benefits yet, please go and do that right away. We do not need your certificate of eligibility to certify you for your benefits. It would be super helpful if you would take a moment to let one of the certifying officials know what your confirmation number is just so they know you've gone and applied for the benefits when you do the request for benefits form. It just allows us to track it better in the system. When the VA has gone ahead and processed everything, they will send you another letter saying that you have been certified for X amount of credits for each block. So that's what you need to do. The important thing with Chapter 35 is first, if you drop any classes, let us know right away. Generally, because of our reports, we are able to catch them, but it's always best to just shoot an email to us and let us know that you dropped a class or withdrew from a class. It doesn't matter the reason, unless there's extenuating circumstances. In that case, maybe we can see if we can work with the VA about debts. But generally, the way that it works is, let's say that you were taking 9 credits in one block. You decide to drop a 3-credit class, bumping you down to 6 credits. Now you're not considered, well, you would still be, let's go from 6 to 3. You were taking 6 credits and now you're down at 3. So you're not considered full-time anymore. The VA, even if we report it right away, like you tell us the second that you drop that class, and the certifying officials are able to go in and amend your certification to the VA, once again, the VA has to process that information. And that means that oftentimes, unless like you tell us it happens to be in the very beginning of the month, the VA very well might overpay you. If they do, it's really important for you to keep that in mind and set that money aside, because the VA is going to let you know when it catches up that there is a debt and you need to repay it. It's better if you just put the money aside, put it in a savings account, and when the VA asks for it back, you just send it back. The longer you wait to tell us, the bigger of a debt you might accrue. Nobody wants that. If something happens and you need to withdraw from the entire semester, and the VA wants of their money back, the debt management center, who is actually the person who collects for the VA, they're very reasonable. They will initially say that they want the entire portion of the debt back in like one payment. But if you call them and say, look, I can only give you $50 a month towards this, or 25, or whatever financially works for you, the debt management center will work for you. If the person that you talk to on the phone won't work with you, call back and talk to someone else, because they are supposed to make payment arrangements with people using these benefits just in case, you know, for financial hardship. Nobody wants to be missing months of benefits because, you know, you happen to withdraw. Okay, so the other thing you want to remember is every time you registered for classes, so when you register for your spring classes, you need to fill out this request for benefits form again. It's an every semester thing. Every semester that you register for classes, you want to fill out this form. It's very short. It just takes a couple of minutes. The earlier you do it, the more likely it is that you will get paid on time and everything will be processed. That's really like the most important thing. We want you to get your benefits on time. So just keep in mind, set a little reminder on your calendar for when you're able to register to fill out this form. Okay, so that's Chapter 35 in a nutshell. So if you want to find out more information about Chapter 35, you can actually go to the VA's website and click on Education and Training, and then Survivor, about all of the benefits and how they make payments and then what you will get for whatever the monthly payment is, how long it will last for, how long people are eligible for, and it's always good to look at the VA's website because things change. All right, post 9/11. Post 9/11 people, you will apply the same way that the Chapter 35 people did. In this case, if you are using the post 9/11 GI Bill benefit, and in some cases, as a dependent, you may be eligible for post 9/11 and Chapter 35. You need to have a discussion with your family about what benefit you are going to use first. You don't need to give up either of those benefits. So some people, if they know they're going to grad school or medical school or something like that, will keep post 9/11 in their back pocket for that. Other people want to use it up front and then use Chapter 35. It's really based on your situation. And if you want to have a conversation about that and get into the specifics of your exact situation, I'm happy to talk to you about that. Our VSOC will be happy to talk to you about that. And our certifying officials will be happy to talk to you about that. Okay, so the first thing to remember is when you're applying for post 9/11, your sponsor must have transferred at least 1 month of the benefit to you while they were still serving. You are not able to go and give benefits to your dependents after you get out. Now, you can move months around after you get out, but if you did not initially indicate that child A, B, and C and your spouse get each 1 month of benefits, you're not going to be able to go back into the system and then allot benefits to them after you get out. So you have allotted benefits to your dependent. You are welcome to obviously dispense those months as you desire. Some people will give, half and then split it with another child. Some parents will give a semester at a time to see how their child does in school. It's really up to you. It is not a big deal to go into the DEER system and change the months, add months or take away months, whatever you want to do. Okay, so you will go over here, and then if you're using Chapter 33, even if your sponsor meets this criteria, you want to say no. And then it's going to ask, has your sponsor transferred their benefits to you? Hopefully the answer is yes. And then you will hit apply now, and then you will go through the application process. The application process for Chapter 35 and post 9/11 is pretty much the same. They're going to ask your name, your date of birth, your social security number, your bank information. They'll want to know what school you were going to. They will want to know what program you plan on applying to. They want to know what your ultimate job goal is, pretty much everything. Now, when you fill out that form, let's say you want to be a marine biologist, and you take 2 semesters of biology and decide, this biology is not for me. And then you decide instead that you want to go into mechanical engineering. That is totally fine. You would want to make the certifying officials aware that you are changing your major, but the VA is fine with you changing majors. I mean, change majors as often as you want to. I wouldn't recommend it because then you're going to be in school for a long time. But it's fine to change majors. You are not wedding yourself to anything by putting it on the application. If you don't know what you want to do, just say undecided. That is totally fine. It is fine to be an undecided major for a few semesters while you are first in school. Okay, so you've applied for the benefit. Once again, please write down that confirmation number, and then if you've registered for classes, you want to go ahead and do that request for benefits form that I showed earlier. Let's talk about how post 9/11 pays. Okay, so post 9/11 pays in-state tuition. They pay a housing stipend, and they pay a book stipend. The way that tuition works is that when you are certified, the certifying officials will then go into your student account and make a little note about how much money, based on your percentage, you expect to get from the VA in tuition dollars. Now, the percentage comes from how much active duty time your sponsor had while serving after 9/11. They should know the answer to that question. The VA has a chart, if you go to the post 9/11 GI Bill website, about how the benefits kind of break down. Of course, they've moved it. I'll find it. But you'll know at what rate you are going to get paid. You might be at the 60% mark, you might be at the 80% mark, you might be at the 100% mark. What that means is if you're at the 60% mark, the VA will pay 60% of the in-state tuition and fees, required fees. The VA will also pay 60% of the housing stipend. They will also pay 60% of the book stipend. That's how it works. Okay, so when the certifying officials go and put a note onto your account saying that they expect to receive X amount of dollars from the VA in tuition, that is kind of on there as like a fake pot of money. Think about it like that. You are still going to get reminders from the cashier's office until the bill is completely paid. And they can be very assertive in their desire to have your account balance at zero. But as long as we know that the VA is going to pay, we're not going to hold it against you if the VA doesn't pay this semester. Things happen. We will call the VA and verify that yes, they are going to pay, but we will never hold it against the student for the VA paying slowly. That is not your fault. Now, you have your tuition taken care of. The VA does not pay for the residence hall fee, and it does not pay for the dining plan fee. They figure that because you get that housing allowance, you can kind of subsidize the cost of those fees with your monthly housing stipend. Now, because the VA pays in arrears for post 9/11, just like they do with Chapter 35, it is not possible for you to get paid enough throughout the semester before the deadline to pay tuition to pay for those housing fees with your housing stipend. So you and your family need to have a discussion of how you are going to cover those charges. The cashier's office does have a payment plan. We're probably past the 5-month one. but there's a 3-month one, a 2-month one. So if you want to be able to spread out payments like that, please contact the cashier's office. Let them know that you're a post 9/11 GI Bill payment, post 9/11 GI Bill student, and how much you are expecting to pay out of pocket, the residence hall fee and the meal plan fee. Also, anything else that you add to your account, the VA is not going to pay for. So if you add a parking pass to your account, they will not pay for that. If you go to the student health center, initially is fine, but if you then go to the student health center because you have a cold, they will not pay for that visit if it is billed to your account. So anything that you're adding on to your account, like printing, library book fines, anything like that, the VA will not pay for. So please check your account regularly and make sure that your balance is at 0, because if it's not, you won't be able to register for the next semester. And it's better just to be aware of how much you owe from the get-go. I always encourage the students using these benefits to be super proactive about them. If you're worried that the VA hasn't paid yet, come and talk to us. You know, we're happy to talk to the VA and figure out what's going on. If you're confused of how to look at your bill and figure out how much you owe, we're happy to look at that with you too. Now, it's important for parents to know that when their student comes to ECU, they are now the adult. They are the owner of this account. So if the parent were to call on behalf of the student, asking questions about bills, or how much is left on their account, how much do they owe, we would not be able to provide that information to the parent because that is a FERPA violation. However, if you fill out the paperwork for the Buckley Act, high report, you can, as the student, indicate which of your family members you would like to be able to call or communicate on your behalf about whatever topics you want. There's a whole bunch of selections there, and you're able to kind of pick and choose what you want it to be about, grades or account charges or whatever you want. So have that discussion with your parents about what type of access they're going to need if you think you're going to need assistance with your benefits. Okay, so post 9/11 GI Bill and financial aid. The post 9/11 GI Bill will almost always be the first payer. So that means if you have loans or scholarships or grants, that money that was supposed to go towards your tuition will get pushed back to you in the form of a refund. So I always, or it may go to whatever costs you have left over from your housing and so I always recommend that students apply for scholarships. There's lots of scholarships out there, and take advantage of those opportunities because you're not wasting the post 9/11 GI Bill by doing that. The one thing you want to be careful about is with scholarships, and some grants, but it's really uncommon, is if the scholarship or grant is tuition specific, and it will say in the application itself, like the description about it, if it is tuition specific. If it is, unless it's like a lot of money, like a lot, I wouldn't apply for it, because what will happen is the post 9/11 GI Bill, let's say your tuition is $5,000. The post 9/11 GI Bill will try to come in and pay that $5,000. And that scholarship is going to try to pay that $5,000 too. Now, in this case, the scholarship is going to win out, and that post 9/11 GI Bill money goes away, and you've wasted that power of the post 9/11 GI Bill. So you don't want to do that. We like to preserve the entirety of the benefit for you. Now, if they're going to give you like $50,000 a semester, I would say like maybe don't use the post 9/11 GI Bill, save it for later. You're obviously a very talented student. $50,000 will get you through the semester. You know, so be mindful of that, but that's not a very common situation. Okay, so tuition, taken care of. The payment, so for the BAH, it is considered, you get E5 with dependents BAH for the zip code of the area that the school is in. That is if you are taking on-campus classes. So right now, and I have it up, with dependents, it is $1,356 per month. Once again, the VA pays in arrears. So when we begin in August, halfway through the month, in September, you're just going to get a partial payment. Now, if you are getting, if you are taking all online classes, you are going to get half of the national average. And I should have pulled this up earlier, but I wasn't thinking. I'm going to find it. Let's just pull up one more tab here. Okay, so I'm just going to point this out. Whenever you're searching for VA information, it's really best to go to the VA's website. You know, this training camp thing might be totally fine. Militarybenefits.info is usually not a bad website, but if you can go straight to the VA, go straight to the VA. Okay, so view current payment rates. So, but then they bring up a table. And okay, exclusively online, $916.50. So if you're in a situation where you're taking on all online classes for one of the blocks, you will only get the $916.50 per semester. The next block, if you're taking at least one on-campus class, and that's really the key, the one on-campus class, you will get the full housing allowance for this area. A great way to cover that is if you're not enrolled in a co-ed class. The co-ed class actually runs both blocks. It's a 1-credit class, counts towards your degree requirements. You can take the co-ed class and be considered on campus, even if the rest of your classes are online. Now, something to be mindful of is if you happen to register, maybe you're a transfer student and you happen to register very early before we knew that we were going to the block scheduling. I don't know if this is even possible. I'm just going to pretend it is. You will want to, if that class was originally considered on campus, you will be certified as on campus, even if it has been moved to an online format. The certifying officials are going by the designation for the class as it originally was. So if we do this again in the spring, Hopefully everything is back to normal. But you can never be too certain. It's always best to think about what we're up against. You will want to be mindful of what classes you're taking if you want to get that full housing allowance rate for the spring semester or the fall semester. Now, generally, the housing allowance changes every year, cost of living adjustments and stuff like that. But if you've been getting a payment, whatever I said it was earlier, $13.56 per month, you're then grandfathered under that unless it goes up. So if it goes up to $1,500, you'll get bumped up to that. If it goes down to $1,200, you'll still be getting that $13.56. Okay, so we've talked about the monthly housing allowance. Now we are going to talk about the book stipend. Now, something just to keep in mind with the VA is when they pay you money, like for the monthly housing allowance for Chapter 35 or Chapter 33, they don't care what you do with that money. If you want to put all of your housing allowance money and all of your book stipend money into a savings account, that's fine. You do not have to use your book stipend at our bookstore. You're welcome to shop around for books and get them where best suits you. If you want to rent your textbooks, that's fine. The VA is never going to come to you and ask for receipts about how you spent the housing allowance or the book. So the book stipend is based on credits. Per credit, you get something like $61.67 per credit. I think that's right. What's 1,200 divided by, oh wait, what's 1,000? Look how I'm embarrassing myself. Is that right? 1,000 divided by 12. Oh wait, no, it'd be by 24. Yeah, all right, so I'm sorry, $41.67 per credit. And they base that on, they figure the average student is going to take 12 credits over a full semester to be considered full time. And then two 12 week semesters would be 24 credits. You get $1,000, up to $1,000. So that comes out to $41.67 per credit. What that means is if you take, let's say this is a typical semester, let's say you take 15 credits in the fall semester. The VA will pay you about $660 something for those 15 credits. Now, let's say you take 15 credits again in the spring. They're not going to pay the $660 something that they paid in the spring. They're going to pay the remainder of the $1,000. Now, in general, they pay this amount about 2 weeks before the semester starts. So because we're doing the block scheduling, you should get a payment if everything has been turned in and everything has been processed about 2 weeks before the semester begins. Then before block 2 begins, you should get another payment for books. So just keep that in mind. Like I said, the VA does not care what bookstore you use, so don't fret about that. Now, where was I going with this? Give me a second. I just lost my train of thought. Okay, so, oh yes. So something to think about, okay, because we're now in July, I can't even imagine. I still feel like I'm in the spring semester. We're in July. If you haven't filled out the application yet for either one of those benefits, there is a possibility that it's not going to be processed by the VA in time for it to pay appropriately. And that means on time. So that might mean your tuition payment gets delayed. That's fine. We'll never hold it against you. If anything gets turned off, like you can't access your dorm anymore, can't use your one card to go to the gym, please tell us right away and we will take care of that for you. As long as it's not some sort of outstanding balance from the residence halls or the meal plans, we can take care of that for you right away. So if everything is not set in place, the VA will back pay you. So worst case scenario world, which is where I like to live with the VA sometimes, if you don't get anything until November when we end for the semester, they will pay you all that money that you should have gotten throughout the semester in one lump sum. They will generally not wait until the first once they've processed you and we are already in the semester. So just keep checking your bank account. So that's how the benefits work. Everyone's situation is different. I encourage you or to the certifying officials and ask if you have questions. I am happy to sit down with people and talk about the benefits and get into your particular situation, because it really does work differently for everyone based on your particular situation. Some things that I want to remind you of is, please do the request for benefits form as early as possible every semester. Students will come in and they will say that they haven't gotten paid, and we'll say, did you fill out the request for benefits? If the answer is no, that's why you haven't gotten paid. We just don't know that you're going to school, or we don't know that you intend to use your benefits for that semester. Some students who do not have the full 36 months of benefits, or even if they necessarily use their benefits every semester. So it's really up to you to let us know when you've registered. Do that as soon as you register. The other thing, if you drop a class for either Chapter 33 or Chapter 35, let us know right away. With Chapter 33, there's a possibility you may need to pay some tuition money back as well as the housing allowance. Sometimes they ask for book money back, sometimes they don't. It's not consistent. The third thing, students, please know what benefit you are using and how it is supposed to work. It can be very difficult when a student comes in and they say they haven't gotten paid, and we try to ask, what benefit do you get? And the student doesn't know. And that, in a lot of cases, is because the parent is the one who has done all the benefit stuff and keeping track of the money and you know, do it and helping them out essentially, so they don't have to worry about it. But you know, put a note in your phone that says, I received Chapter 35, I received Chapter 33. This is how it's supposed to pay, and then check on it. You know, like check your bank account every month to make sure that it's paying you. Check your tuition statements to make sure if you have Chapter 33, it has paid your tuition. It's just, it makes it easier for everyone in veteran services to assist you if you know what benefit you are using. Our VSOC. So we have a brand new Vet Success on Campus counselor starting in the fall. We're not exactly sure when she will be on campus. It really depends on when the VA allows their employees to start working in an office setting rather than remotely. If you would like her email, I'm happy to provide it for you. But what she can do is, say you're one of those students that's undecided. If you want to explore different job options, she can do that with you. if you want to talk about your specific benefit situation and how the benefits work, she can talk to you about that. The great thing about having a VSOC is that she can actually access the VA systems and see if there's payments pending. And she can answer questions like, has your application been received? Like, can she see it in there? You know, sometimes she can actually print the certificate of eligibilities for us if it hasn't been mailed to you yet. So she's really a great resource for us to have on campus, and we're excited to have her start. The last thing I want to leave you with, I have like 5 minutes left, is please don't ever hesitate to come to my office, come to the Student Veteran Services Lounge if you have questions. It doesn't really matter what your question is. You can have questions about financial aid or how to use tutoring or whatever, and we will point you in the right direction. Our office tries very hard to give you a warm handoff, meaning we are going to hopefully actually bring you to the person that you need to talk to. We don't like to tell students to just go talk to financial aid or go talk to the cashier's office. If we can give you a direct name, we will do that for you because we want to make sure that you get served. The other thing, I guess I have one more thing. Because you're using a VA benefit, sometimes you're going to, if you call, say, financial aid office or cashiers, if they hear that you're using a VA benefit, sometimes they will transfer you to our office, even if you don't have a question that pertains to your benefit, because they will sometimes think that it's like a benefit problem rather than a financial aid problem or a problem or whatever problem there is. So we can work with you to kind of figure out what person you need to talk to. And sometimes it's better, like if the VA benefit isn't playing into anything, just leave that out of the conversation and have the offices help you with whatever the issue is. So to email me, I'm happy to chat with you at any time. We can video chat, we can talk on the phone, we can email. I love talking to students. I love talking to parents. I know the benefits can be hard to understand. I'm a Navy veteran. I use them going to school. I get it. So my job really is to make it as easy as possible for you to use your benefits, go to school, get your degree, and get a job. So that is my presentation. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to stick around, or you can email me your questions and we will go from there. So welcome to ECU. We are so excited to have you. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Nicole. We do have one question. I don't know if you can see it in the Q&A, but Jennifer would like to know if there's an age limit for post 9/11 benefits.
Is there an age limit for post 9/11? Oh, I brought up my wrong thing. I don't think so. You know what? Let me look. Post 9/11. There definitely is for Chapter 35. Let me just scroll down here. It does not, it's not laying out an age limit. So I'm going to say there isn't one. Something that you want to be mindful of is benefits expiring. It works differently for dependents, but it's something that you want to be mindful of. You know, we have spouses going to school, so there can't be an age limit for that. You know, we have children going to school that are married and have children themselves, so they're still using the benefit. I can actually ask that question to the VA directly and get back to you with like a firm answer about that if you email me, and I will get back to you, because even though the website doesn't say, I don't want to give you bad information. So please contact me and I will get back to you on that.
Okay, another question we have is from Selena, and she's asking, just to clarify, if a student's class was originally on campus and got switched to online from COVID-19, the student's class will still be certified as on campus.
Yes. So if you would like, so yes, so if the class was originally supposed to be on campus, that is how the student will be certified, as if it was an on-campus class. If you would like, you can email me your schedule. I'll take a look at it. We look at the codes at the end of the class to tell us if it's considered on campus or not. And then I can say, yes, you will absolutely be on campus. But yeah, if you registered before everything got switched over, you will be considered an on-campus student if the class was supposed to be on campus.
Okay, I don't see any more questions that have come in, so
Okay.
we're all good. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for attending. And like, if you have any questions, email me. I'm here.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. We're going to end the session now. Thank you.
Thank you.